Can a broken heart actually break your heart? Most people hear that question and smile. They think it's a metaphor, a poem, a country song, something people say after a divorce, a death, or a devastating goodbye. But medicine says otherwise. There is an actual medical condition called broken heart syndrome. Its formal name is Takotsubo Cardiomyopathy. It was first identified in Japan, and when it happens, the heart temporarily changes shape. The symptoms can look almost identical to a heart attack: chest pain, shortness of breath, heart palpitations. Many people end up in the emergency room convinced they are dying, because in that moment, something very real is happening inside the body. This isn't poetry. This is cardiology. So what causes it? A massive surge of stress hormones, an adrenaline flood, a nervous system pushed beyond what it can safely carry. The triggers are often exactly what you'd expect: the death of a loved one, a divorce, betrayal, abandonment, estrangement, terrible news, a sudden shock that changes everything, and the body responds. Because the body doesn't care whether the wound came from a knife, a car accident, or a shattered relationship. It responds to threat. And that's why I want to talk to the women who found this channel: the estranged mothers, the estranged daughters, the grandparents, the suicide loss survivors, the trauma survivors, the women who know what it means to wait for a phone call that never comes, to stare at a text message that never arrives, to survive Mother's Day, birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries, one after another. For many of us, the crisis wasn't one day. It's been years. And that brings us to something important: the difference between grief and trauma. Grief is painful, but grief is a natural response to loss. It moves through us. It changes shape. It softens and sharpens and softens again. But trauma is different. Trauma gets stuck. It lives inside the nervous system. It replays. It waits. It activates. It never seems to receive the message that the danger has passed. And some of the most painful experiences human beings endure fall directly into that category: ambiguous loss, estrangement, unanswered questions, chronic rejection, loving someone who is still alive but no longer reachable. Those wounds don't end when the event ends. They continue day after day, year after year. And here's another fact that should get our attention. Roughly 90% of broken heart syndrome cases occur in women. Most occur after menopause. Let that sink in for a moment. Notice who just described the majority of this audience. Now let's just talk about something else: the final straw. Because most people imagine a single dramatic event, one catastrophe, one terrible day. But that's often not how it works. More often, it's cumulative. Childhood trauma, marriage trauma, financial stress, the death of someone you love, years of carrying responsibilities nobody sees, estrangement, grief, disappointment, loss, and then one more thing happens. One more Mother's Day, one more birthday, one more silence, one more loss, and the body finally says, I cannot carry one more thing. There is also a part of this conversation that almost nobody understands. Society understands funerals. Society understands cemeteries. Society understands widows. Society understands obituaries. There are rituals, flowers, cards, meals, acknowledgement, witnesses. But society does not understand estranged mothers, alienated grandparents, children lost through addiction, children lost through severe mental illness, loved ones who are still alive but somehow gone. These are losses that don't come with casseroles. There are losses that people don't know how to talk about. There are losses that leave us carrying grief in complete silence, and silence has a cost. Which brings me to healing. Not because healing fixes everything, not because healing erases loss, but because healing matters. Therapy matters. Community matters. Support groups matter. Sleep matters. Movement matters. Connection matters. Nervous system regulation matters. Grief work matters. None of these are signs of weakness. They are all forms of healthcare. Healing isn't weakness. Healing is healthcare. And maybe that's the lesson hidden inside broken heart syndrome. Maybe the lesson is that emotional pain is not imaginary. Maybe the lesson is that what happens in our relationships doesn't stay in our relationships. Maybe the lesson is that the body has been listening all along. Because if emotional pain can physically injure the heart, then emotional healing is not self-indulgent. It isn't selfish. It isn't optional. It is one of the most important forms of healthcare we have. Maybe that's what broken heart syndrome is really trying to teach us. The heart has been telling us the truth all along, and perhaps it's finally time we listened.